at Guitar of the Week. Leo jaymz, Monsoon Green Flame. Pretty damn sweet. As you can see, this has pretty much, locking tuners. You get these off of Amazon for like 170 bucks right now. And I really like the Alnico V pickups. Those things scream, There's no tone knob, but you don't really, that's such a situational thing anyways. This pickup switch is only a 3-way. A 5-way would have been, I think, a little bit of a nice touch, but to expect that with locking tuners with a roasted maple neck and rosewood fretboard, rounded edge frets, I think you can live without a tone knob and a 5-way selector. You better be able to. Now, you know how I am about loud pickups, and it's not necessarily that they're loud in the sense that what they're really doing is putting out a lot of voltage. So, and depending on how it's wound up and how many wounds and stuff like that, is really going to determine its tuning, because you have to understand that a lot of pickups, there's a bunch of variables that go into just the type of tuning. It's kind of a weird thing to explain, but also when you have stacked pickups like this one has here, it's different tuning. So these are probably more on the high end than the mid. So you might, but this is where I always talk about the equalizer, whether it's 6 or 10 band equalizer. I, for the most part, for most frequencies, especially when it comes to the high ones, I'm a bigger fan of toning down, like lowering the frequencies at the top end, increasing the frequencies in the mid-range, maybe even into the low range as well. So I feel personally that you'll get a slightly better sound with dropping the highs down a little bit instead of boosting the highs. There's something about in the world of tuning, when you're bouncing the highs up, it really has a different type of like influence, if you will. And when you're really strumming hard is when you're going to notice that. So like the mid-range can be set and you can flick the strings pretty hard and not really have a spike, so to say, as much as you would with the high and the low end. So when you have, and then when it comes to the low end, for example, you don't really want to boost that up too high. What kills speakers is when they move. That's what kills a speaker, because the low frequency heats up the coil. And generally with amplifiers or cabinets, with the speakers with the cabinets in them, they have loudspeakers. So they're not really designed to move. They will, but you have to be weary of that fact that if you pump too much low end, you're going to possibly overheat the coil, and that'll eventually cause damage. That's like the quickest way to destroy a speaker that's not necessarily designed to move. And you also have to understand that in the world of guitar playing, you're not really going to have a perfect sine wave for the most part, primarily on the low end. And that square wave actually stops the speaker from moving properly so that the voice coil doesn't get any cooling. That's what's going to damage your speaker. What I would be more concerned with are, as far as the low end goes, like, you have to adjust we'll say the bass, which is the low frequency, but we'll say the bass frequency. You want to make sure that you're constantly adjusting it, like if you drop down. So if you're in drop D tuning, for example, that's going to cause more low frequencies. So you're going to have to adjust your bass EQ there and keep that. You've got to constantly move that around. You will hurt the speaker. And, it is pretty damn rare that these loudspeakers go bad in a cab. And it is. And a lot of that is simply because the driver board sections of these amplifiers aren't really pushing the low frequencies until you really start boosting it by adding extra pedals and sending the more current through. Once you do that, then of course you will get more movement of the speaker, more low end if you boost it. That's how you get that real chuggy sound. So if you really want that chuggy sound, drop D, you could turn the bass up a little bit, but if there's any way to take off the front cover of the speaker for the cab, play it for a while, play a song, then put the back of your hand up against the speaker and see if it's really hot. If it is, drop the bass down some. That just means that it's gonna burn up the coil, then you're gonna have a bad speaker. So generally when a speaker goes bad, it's because of that. The high frequencies aren't going to burn up your speaker at all. So you can blast that all you want. That's not going to do anything. When people say, "Oh man, you're going to blow the speaker," well, no. It could go really, really loud. Those small high frequencies are a small sine wave, so even if that's clipping, it's not going to do anything, not to a loudspeaker anyways. But if you're a chugger, you like that chug style sound, what you're going to want to do is monitor the heat, and when you do that, you'll be fine. Just make your adjustments there. You can even look at it too with the cab off and see how much the cone is moving. You don't want it to move too much. So it's a long, drawn-out explanation on pickups there, but these are the things you have to know if you really want to get maximum sound without any issues, distortions, those kinds of things. That's going to require you to pay attention, basically. You know, so that's the thing about a guitar like this is you're going to want to drop down to high frequencies a little bit, boost the mids, but I'm just assuming how these are tuned. You can read up on it and stuff, but you don't really know, quite honestly, until you really start getting in there yourself. But that's, again, the banded equalizers are going to be your best friend. And the cool thing about those is you get the ones that are, well, they don't make digital ones that I know of, but the analog ones are perfectly fine. You always want to take a picture of your settings. You know, put a description or whatever on the picture as you save it. Okay, this was when we played this and I got this sound, you know, or record even. And just make sure you have a camera on the settings instead of you, and kind of just play, and then do a playback or whatever, depending on how much space you have, of course, on your hard drives or phone or whatever you're using. That way you can always remember what sound you're getting from what settings. The thing that people struggle with the most is remembering what was what. So I always recommend stuff like that. It's always tempting to get a cool pedal first, and I get that. I'm kind of that way too. But the banded equalizers, they're going to be better than anything you get. It's going to do the most for you, and you'll really start to figure out how to dial things in. That way when you get a regular pedal, and let's say it's got stuff that is for like roll off, like the chug pedal. The chug pedal, to me, would be best if you had a 10 band going into it. Then you can really get the sound you're looking for by using, I'm trying to remember how it's set up, but it has the ability to create roll off, and that's what you're really looking for at the end of the day. So the chug pedal is a damn good pedal to use if you have a 10 band equalizer, because then you can set the roll off. So we'll talk more about that stuff later. Guitar of the week. Get it. It's a goodie.